Hello everybody, Super Goal 6, Unit 2, Drive Slowly for Language and Context, page number 16. Now let's take a look at the objectives. Number 1, answer and discuss the given questions. Number 2, listen to answer the given questions. Number 3, practice pronouncing should and must correctly. Number 4, answer some questions about you. راح نجاوب على بعض الأسئلة ونناقشها، برضو راح نسمع وكذلك راح نجاوب على الأسئلة المعطاة، برضو راح نتدرب على طريقة نطق should and must بطريقة صحيحة، وآخر حاجة راح نجاوب على بعض الأسئلة عن نفسك أو راح تجاوب على بعض الأسئلة عن نفسك. So this unit is called Drive Slowly. Please move on to page number 16. So the first thing we will look at is the language in context. Now, do you know what characterize an aggressive driver? هل تعرف ما الذي يميز السائق العدواني? So if you have an answer to this question, you may leave it in the comment box below. Now let's move on for language and context. Here you are asked to mark the things that characterize an aggressive driver. Here we have, as you could see, a list of the things that may characterize an aggressive driver, so you just have to tick them. عندنا قائمة بالأشياء اللي تميز السائق العدواني اللي باعتقادكم أنه يميز السائق العدواني بإمكانك أنك تضع علامة عليها. Also, you are asked to mark the things that you should or must do when you encounter one. طبعا هنا برضو عندنا a list of what you should or must do when encounter one of the aggressive drivers. هنا عندنا قائمة بالأشياء اللي ممكن تسويها أو تفعلها إذا واجهت سائق عدواني. Later on, you are asked to compare and discuss your answer with a partner. أخيرا مطلوب أنك تقارن وتناقش إجابتك مع a partner. Now let's take a look at the things that are listed here. An aggressive driver drive dangerously and recklessly. This is of course accurate. طبعا السائق العدواني دائما أو في معظم الأحيان يسوق لما يجي يسوق بخطورة وكذلك بلا مبالاة. Go through stop signs and red lights of course. طبعا لا يتوقف عند لما يرى مثلا إشارة يعني توقف أو إشارة الحمراء. Are courteous to other motorists. هل هم مهذبين تجاه السائقين الآخرين؟ Of course not. Tailgate. Drive closely behind the car in front. طبعا هل هم يلتصقون بالسيارة التي أمامهم؟ Of course yes. Blow their horns and flash their lights? Yes, of course. Let other pass them? No, of course not. And if you have another description that may characterize an aggressive driver, you can just write it down here below. Okay. إذا عندك أي description أي وصف ممكن يصف السائق العدواني بإمكانك كتابته هنا. Now what must or should you do when encounter one of these aggressive drivers? Go out of the way get out of the way يعني تتنحى جانبا أو بمعنى آخر يعني get out of the way. Yes, of course. Should you or must you challenge them and show that you aren't scared? Of course not. مو مفروض أن تتحدى السائق العدواني. طبعا of course not. Ignore them and their gesture. تجاهلهم وتجاهل إيماءاتهم. صحيح. Avoid eye contact. تجنب التواصل البصري معهم. Yes. Blow your horn. Of course you shouldn't do as they do. يعني مو مفروض أنك تفعل مثل ما يفعلون. Report them to the authorities. طبعا تبلغهم للسلطات المختصة. Of course yes. And if you have other things that you must or should do when encounter one of these aggressive driver, you can write it down below. Okay. Now let's move on to the next thing, which is the listening part. Right now you are gonna listen to Brando, who is having a driving lesson. You are supposed to mark the things that he does right and wrong. طبعا راح نسمع إلى براندو يأخذ دروس في السواقة أو دروس في السياقة. طبعا مطلوب أنك تضع علامة على الأشياء اللي يفعلها بشكل صحيح والأفعال التي يفعلها بشكل خاطئ. طبعا I'd recommend that you pause the video right now and you read the things that are listed here, and then later on you may run the video again and listen to the audio. ممكن توقفون الفيديو الآن وتقرؤون الأشياء المكتوبة هنا، بعدها ممكن تعيدون تشغيل الفيديو نسمع إلى الأوديو. Okay, so get ready to listen to Brando, who is having a driving lesson, and don't forget to mark the things that he does right and wrong. Okay, نجهز للاستماع and please follow up as you listen.
Page 16. 5. Listening. Listen. Brandon is having a driving lesson. Mark the things he does right and wrong.
Very well, Brandon. Please start the engine. Now, I'd like you to drive carefully along this road until we come to the traffic light.
Should I turn left or right at the light?
I'll tell you when we get there. Brandon, you must hold the steering wheel with both hands.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you know how fast you're going?
I don't know. I can't take my eyes off the road.
Well, you're doing 40 and the speed limit downtown is 25. You must slow down. Look out!
Oops, I'm sorry.
You almost hit that car. Please, stop there on the right. Very good, Brandon. Now, I want you to park properly. Slowly, Brandon.
That was good, wasn't it?
Phew! Parking was the best thing you did, in more ways than one.
Okay, so right now Brando can, of course, start the car, and also the best thing he does best was parking. And also, as for the thing that he does wrong, he cannot hold the steering wheel appropriately, so he should hold the steering wheel with both hands, and also obey the speed limit, because he was doing 40 and he was supposed to do 25 kilometers per hour. Now let's move on to the next part, which is the pronunciation. Right now you are gonna listen and you have to notice how the vowels sound is pronounced in should and must when they are pronounced quickly. Then practice. راح نسمع كيفية نطق الفاول، صوت الفاول طبعا في should و must لما ينطق بطريقة صحيحة، والمطلوب بعدها انكم تتدربون على نطق الجمل المعطاة عندنا. So get ready to listen and please follow up, and then of course later on you are supposed to practice pronouncing these giving statements.
Page 16. 6. Pronunciation. Listen. Notice the vowel sound of in should and must when they are pronounced quickly. Then practice.
You should obey the driving laws. You shouldn't pass on the right. You must be 18 to get a license. You mustn't go over the speed limit.
Okay, so right now it's your turn to practice the giving statement accurately. Now let's move on to the questions about you. Now the first question, what is the driving age in your country? ما هو العمر المسموح لاستخراج الرخصة أو مثلا للسواقة في دولتك? Is it 18, 17 or what? Okay. Now number 2, is the driving age the same for motorcycles? هل العمر المسموح فيه في السواقة نفسه العمر المسموح لا لما يبغى مثلا يقود دراجة نارية؟ Okay. Now number 3, what is the speed limit in your town or city? Is it 80, 70? ما هو الحد المسموح للسرعة؟ طبعا is it 80 kilometers per hour, or it depends if you are on a highway or if you are driving in the neighborhood، أو يعتمد إذا كنت تسوق مثلا في الحي أو مثلا تقود في الخط السريع. You can just write the answer in the comment box below. Now number 4, do you see a lot of aggressive drivers? You remember that we have discussed the characteristics what characterize an aggressive driver. Of course, right now you have a clear idea about what characterize an aggressive driver. So right now, do you see a lot of them? طبعا سبق وناقشنا ما الذي يميز السائق العدواني، فالآن لديكم فكرة كفاية. طبعا هل ترى الكثير من السائقين العدوانيين؟ Now let's move on to the next question. Now, what are the most common traffic problems in your town? ما هي المشكلة الشائعة في your town? Is it a traffic jam, الازدحام المروري, or what? Or a lot of aggressive drivers, الكثير من السائقين العدوانيين? Now let's move on to the next question. What is the major cause of car accident in your country? ما هو السبب الرئيسي لحوادث السيارات في دولتك? Is it speeding or what? Or driving underage? Okay, now let's move on to the next question. Now, what do you think are the difficulties of driving in your country? ماذا باعتقادكم أصعب شيء في القيادة في دولتك؟ Okay, now is it for example is it because again of the traffic jam or what? Okay, هل هي بسبب الازدحام المروري أو الازدحام المروري ممكن يسبب صعوبة في القيادة؟ Okay, so sometimes traffic jam may cause lots of frustration. ممكن يسبب الكثير يعني من stress. So that's why lots of people do not like to drive. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. Now, do you think it's a good idea to have speed cameras on some roads? هل باعتقادكم من الجيد أن يكون أو فكرة جيدة أن يكون في كاميرات لمراقبة السرعة على بعض الطرق؟ Okay, so it depends on what you think. Now, the last question, have you ever seen or been in a road accident? What happened? هل سبق وأن كنت في حادث سيارة أو حصل لك حادث؟ ما الذي حصل? So if you have an answer to any of these questions, you may just leave it in the comment box below. Now, right now we have reached the end of the lesson. I hope that you have enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, share this video with your friends, and hit the like button. Till next time, have a good one.